We are going to get started with our fireside chat. I want to reintroduce myself to any new folks who have come in since this morning. My name is Angela Lang. I'm with Tony Fay Public Relations and serving as your MC today. But for this panel, I will be the moderator. So welcome back. Just want to remind you or let you know for the first time that if you'd like to submit a question, we will be taking questions at the end. You submit them through the QR code in your program, and then I will ask them on your behalf as time permits. So we are here for our fireside chat discussing women's sports and broadcasting. And on the panel with us today is WFAA and KFAA President and General Manager Carolyn Mungo, Senior Vice President, Media Operations and Head of Sports Rights for TEGNA, Brad Ramsey. And the man to my left, his team just drafted the number one WNBA draft pick. I don't know, does anybody know who that person was? Greg Bibb. Welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. So we are seeing women's sports at an all-time high, especially women's basketball. We saw it firsthand with the 2023 Women's Final Four hosted here by the Dallas Sports Commission. Of course, another very well-known name, Caitlin Clark, in Iowa played in that. LSU went on to win the national championship. And the Dallas Wings are part of this incredible momentum. So my first question is for you, Greg. Your team has sold out season ticket memberships for the second consecutive year. And the Wings have new local and regional TV rights deals with TEGNA that cover all the games not on national television. So there's never been a better time to be a fan of the Dallas Wings. And we were talking earlier, a lot of people would say that this seems kind of like an overnight success. But you've been preparing for it for a while, and you've seen it for a while. How did you prepare for this moment that women's sports is experiencing?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here today. It's great to be on the campus of SMU. I like to say the WNBA and then subsequently the Dallas Wings, we're a 29-year overnight success story. The WNBA is in season 29. I've been involved since the year 2007, so a lot of those years. And for a long time, unfortunately, we kind of worked in the background, kind of off the radar on the sports landscape, if you will. And fortunately, there's been a number of things that have occurred over the last 4 or 5 years that have really helped push us to the forefront and to the front of everyone's mind when it comes to sports and the business of sports. Ironically, one of the best things that happened for us in a vacuum of us is the pandemic. We made a decision as a league, much like the NBA did, to operate our season. The NBA operated in what they called the bubble at Walt Disney World, where they brought the entire league to one location and played the remainder of their schedule and playoffs. We operated at IMG in Bradenton, Florida, in what we called the wubble. And there's a lot of debate on whether we should do that or not, because unlike the NBA, you know, we're relatively small business. At that time, we were, you know, for all intents and purposes, a business trying to gain traction after a lot of years of trying to gain traction, and a lot of debate back and forth of whether we should just say, we'll see you next year and forget about the summer of 2020 or if we should play. Fortunately, we made the decision to play, and what happened when we brought all of the players together in one location, the league and really the players found their voice. And through that voice and through the captive audience of everyone being at home looking for programming, and in particularly live programming, we took a giant step forward. And from that summer of 2020, we've been incrementally growing ever since. 21 was a record year for us. 22 was a record year. 23 was a big year from a record perspective. And then Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and others happened. And last year was another leap. And then fortunately for us, the ping pong gods looked favorably upon us. In November, we were awarded the first overall pick, and we were able to select Paige Beckers, which has allowed us to have an even better 2025. So a lot has happened recently, but I would say really 2020 is where we started to see the significant upward movement. And again, it's been happening, it's been building for 29 years.
Well, I know that a lot of folks are looking forward to what the next 29 and beyond will look like because you've built incredible momentum. Brad, you've been at the forefront of broadcast deals in this new era of sports broadcasting. You recently partnered with both the Indiana Fever and the Dallas Wings for TV distribution contracts that are the first of their kind in the WNBA. So tell us about those deals and why investing in women's sports is a solid decision for TEGNA.
Well, excuse me. Thank you for having me, and thank you, Monica and the Dallas Sports Commission and SMU. What a treat to have this collection of people and ideas and thought right here in our backyard today. So thank you. Women's sports is great business for TEGNA and for many of you in the room. It helps to in back-to-back years have partners that have the #1 draft pick. So we were fortunate to do that 2 years in a row, first with the Fever and now with the Wings. We've done 15 sports rights agreements in the last 18 months in what we call this new era of distribution. And without a doubt, those deals are across 4 leagues, the WNBA, NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball. And we have to then go monetize those deals based on what should be a larger audience. In almost every case, the audience is bigger. And that's the biggest challenge, is proving out that we can grow the ad market and the sponsorship market at the same rate we can grow the audience. And part of that is meeting new partners and bringing new people to the table to do business with us. And across those 15 deals, without a doubt, the most enthusiastic conversations we've had with potential new partners who are not already doing business with us on our traditional TV business or linear business has been the 2 WNBA deals with the Wings and the Fever. Fans are enthusiastic about it. They want to support the movement, from sponsors who want to be in front of a different audience to those that care about giving great inspiration to young girls. It's creating great business for us, and not only great business, but with new partners.
Love that. Carolyn, WFAA and now also with KFAA has made connecting with the community a priority in both the station's approach to coverage and storytelling. Can you touch on the 2 stations' philosophies when it comes to partnerships like the one you have with the Wings?
Excellent. Thank you for having me. It's just a joy to see everybody. So I've been in journalism and broadcasting my entire career. Informing and connecting communities is at the heart of what we do, right? And there is nothing that helps strengthen that connection than live local sports. So it's a natural fit for us. And I do believe that a broader mission of these deals, and particularly with the WNBA, is it allows us the opportunity to put the message on steroids, to be able to use the legacy station at WFAA to continue to reflect regional pride and hometown loyalty. I mean, it really is about the connection and about the message. And what a better opportunity to do that in communities that really, really need it, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. It's very fractured, it's large. To be able to come together and to be able to expand on that with the megaphone that we have with both stations is amazing. And I will say this, from a community standpoint, just recently, the community lead at the Dallas Wings has connected with our community lead at WFAA and KFAA, and they're already brainstorming on ways to empower and lead women and girls. There is an idea out there to get together and combine our talents to do a one-day summit for teenage girls about growth and leadership, right? We can both benefit from that. So these are the opportunities that I'm excited about.
You know, we've talked so much today about connecting and customizing, personalizing connection. So that sounds like I would love to be a part of that. If you guys end up doing it.
Sign you up. I'll sign you up.
You have your first speaker.
I know.
So Greg, we've heard a lot about regional sports networks rapidly changing in the new landscape of broadcast television. Like many sports franchises, you needed to find a solution for distribution, but also maintain an important revenue stream. So tell us what you can about the Wings deal with TEGNA and the positive impact it provides to your fans and to the franchise.
Well, first, I think it's important to give Brad and Carolyn some credit because obviously, as we sit here in early May, having the opportunity to draft Paige Beckers and what that means for our business and the business of our partners, it's a pretty easy decision to make. But I want to be clear, the commitment from these folks was made prior to the knowledge that we were going to be able to draft Paige. So I think there's some credit due there because it wasn't as easy, as clear decision maybe as it is today. So thank you for that. We have three main objectives with the Dallas Wings. And, we're in a business where there's a lot of really good rabbit holes to go down and really good things to do. And sometimes it's easy to lose track of those three things. So my charge to our folks every day, make sure you're doing something that ties back to these three things. And there's no order to these three things, but one, generate revenue. We are a for-profit business, and sometimes it's easy to forget that again because we are so community focused. Billie Jean King says it best, and I'm paraphrasing here, but women's sports has moved from being a charity to an investment, and we see that every day now. When we go talk to prospective partners, the question we get is not, what can we do for you? It is now, what can you do for us? They're looking to us to really help them move their business. Number one, generate revenue. Number two, we're in the business of sports. We want to win. In particular, we want to win championships. So our second priority is win championships. And number three is make a positive impact in the community. We want to be a double bottom line business. We want to do well by doing good. And those three things work together. And I think the relationship we have with TEGNA is a perfect example of that. Carolyn just spoke to the community engagement piece. We are very active in the community, but when we can lean into a partnership with the reach and the messaging of a station and a partnership like TEGNA, that goes way beyond what we could do by ourselves. So it's been a great relationship on that front. Obviously, there's a financial component. Women's sports has changed in that way, and local media rights now mean something from a financial perspective. But I got to be honest when I tell you that was a consideration, but it wasn't the greatest consideration. It's not the reason we ended up with TEGNA. We ended up with TEGNA because of how they relate to the community, how they put an importance on that relationship, and candidly, the reach that they have, not only in the DFW market, but beyond DFW. And they've done a great job in helping us establish relationships in 11 other markets around Texas. So now that we reach over 6.3 million households, whether it be Houston, San Antonio, Abilene, Amarillo by morning, as our friend George Strait would say, it doesn't matter where you go in Texas, you're now able to watch the Dallas Wings on live television, and that's a credit to this partnership that started hyper-local in the DFW.
That's awesome.
I'm going to take Greg on my next pitch.
I loved it. Great answer. We're going to stick on the regional sports networks theme for a little bit. That the disintegration has opened the door for TEGNA to change the game for sports broadcasting. So along with the Wings and the Fever, we also know you can see the Mavs on WFAA and KFAA. So how do you view the future, Brad, of sports broadcasting? What is your vision for the future?
Well, I think if, I wanted to joke that we had a crystal ball when Greg talked about the number one draft pick, but I don't think anybody has a crystal ball completely figured out on this space. I joked about taking Greg with us on the next pitch, but we're really proud of the comprehensive value proposition we make for teams. About reach, economics is certainly a part. There's marketing elements. Our local media outlets around the country, we're in 51 markets. We've got a lot to learn every day, but we've largely figured out this community engagement piece. We're available on all screens, and we're a 24/7, 365 content engine where, no disrespect to any RSN, they do a great job, those that still exist, of that one day part. That is a challenge for them, is they're a day part of one. Whereas we have eyeballs coming to us on a number of screens all day, every day, and can use that to drive audience to these games. And that's a big part of the value proposition. But for us, it's really three pieces. Greg talked about the economics have to be there, but there are other things. When we sit down with a team anywhere in the country in any league, we have you might guess, a long presentation, a deck with many slides, and we all know you don't want the person to jump to the last slide where the economics are. We don't have a problem with that because our partners really understand what we bring to the table from a marketing standpoint, what we bring to the table from an audience extension standpoint. Greg talked about the 11 markets for the Wings. We have 16 markets for the Mavs, 12 markets for the Fever, 13 markets for the Seattle Kraken. Teams really lean in on that, and when the games are going to be available free over the air in their entire territory, I think the lowest penetration we have in any one of our team territories is 96% of households. And so teams really lean in on that. And so, but when it comes to the economics, nobody can predict exactly where this is going to go. The leagues are going to have a say, and I think we're only in the second or third inning, or maybe since we're talking WNBA, I should say we're in the first TV timeout of where this is all going to go. And yes, teams that have left an RSN have gone through a big reset, but we're still trying to figure out both the teams and the media partners are trying to figure out the full extent of monetizing the rights. And so that's going to evolve over time, and we're going to see if the ad and sponsorship revenue can catch up to the new reach.
Our time has gone so fast. It looks like we have about 5 to 10 minutes left. So, Carolyn, I'm going to throw this question to you, and then we're going to go to our audience questions. What did you learn from a season of broadcasting the Mavericks on KFAA and WFAA, and that overall impact on the stations? And how do you make the partnership with the Wings be a win-win for all parties?
So a lot of lessons learned with our first season of the Mavericks. But the two that come to mind, the first one is I knew there was a hunger for our local advertisers to attach and align with live local sports. I didn't know just how hungry they were. Within the first couple of weeks of our announcement of the Dallas Mavericks, it was going to be on KFAA and WFAA, we had advertisers lining up for sponsorship opportunities with us. So the lesson there was we're getting out a lot earlier. As we approach season 2 of the Mavs, we are working in different and unique ways to get and attract new clients for the Wings, as Brad talked about. It's enthusiasm, it's passion, and there's interest, right? So that was a huge aha for me. I knew it was there, but I didn't know to the degree. The second lesson, I will say, is a lesson we didn't think we had to learn this year, but we did, and it was about journalistic integrity. So as a local television station, we could not cover the roller coaster ride that was the Dallas Mavericks. At the same time, we were able to maintain the relationship of what it means to be a partner with the Dallas Mavericks. That wasn't easy, right? But there was a level of understanding at the outset, and it had to do with relationships. Brad can help sign the deals, right? But then at the station level, it's up to us to establish and connect and find those relationships to where when things happen, like the season of the Mavs, that was unexpected, we knew how to better navigate that. Again, not saying it was easy, but we learned it, check, for whatever might happen in the future for any team that we partner with.
Great answer. All right, I'll ask this for all three of you as our closing question. What do you see as the biggest barrier and opportunities for women leagues to scale in terms of media rights and sponsorship value? Who wants to go first? I see everyone's jumping.
I'll jump. Hello. I'll jump in just because something comes to mind. I think for all leagues, and it certainly applies to women's sports, and Greg will be able to speak to this better than I could, but scale is an issue and a concern. The great unbundling that we've all experienced. Cord cutting is what has led to the demise of the RSNs. And there's been this unbundling. It's been consumer friendly. It's all been about consumer choice and affordability. Well, we've got to be careful that we don't make this so complicated that consumers throw their hands up in the air or can't afford what we do or can't find what we're doing. And so I think we've all got to work together, all of us. And I've taken lessons from the sessions I've been able to sit in today, and there's so many things that weave this all together. But teams, leagues, broadcasters, PR partners, streaming companies, we've all got to keep the fan at the as the North Star here and make sure that we're working together and working in ways that we all help each other lift all boats, so to speak, and keep the fan front and center. We don't want to just look out for ourselves and then ultimately make it so complicated that we shoot ourselves in the foot and don't make progress.
I would say from a property perspective, it's just growth. You know, the WNBA for a long time was a league of 12 markets. We're a league of 13 now this year with Golden State coming on board. Next year we add Portland and Toronto, so we go to 15, and then there are plans for some more after that. But we just have to be in more places. And then, you know, there's got to be an investment in each one of those markets. We are extraordinarily lucky to be in this market. I say this all the time to my people. If you could say, Greg, put the team in any market in America, where would you put it? I would say I'm not leaving. This is it. Monica Paul, the Dallas Sports Commission, I'm sure everyone in this room knows this. This is literally, and it's not us saying this, other people have said this, hello, Sports Business Journal. This is the best market for sports business in the country, period. So we have a huge lead. We have a huge advantage here with the Dallas Wings to tap into, I think, the best market in America. We need to find those advantages in each of our markets that we're operating because they're there. You just have to look for them. And we need to continue to grow so we are more relevant to more people across North America.
They said it best.
Right? Well, you guys said a lot, and I wish we had more time to talk, but we are wrapping this panel. We're going to start our next one at 1:20. Please, everyone, put your hands together and thank Greg, Brad, and Carolyn for this great conversation about women's sports and broadcasting.